Hello, welcome to my Facebook Live. My name is Jessica Lozano, and I am a women's relationship and feminine embodiment mentor and ceremony facilitator, guiding women to have incredible, extraordinary relationships with the love of their life. And to be the woman who is so magnetic where she says, I am the one. And she draws that man in through her divine feminine embodiment. It's like he can't help but just like get sucked into her. So this is what I do. And today we're going to talk about how to have a hot and wild sex life with your husband, with your partner, with your lover, and or future potential suitor, your future husband, your future long-term committed relationship. Because this is an important topic. This is an important topic because did you know that the top 3 reasons that couples get divorced is money, sex, and parenting? That means that sex is such an important part of a relationship. And rightfully so. It is something that you and your partner share intimately with, that you and your partner have, like the only special thing that you two can share. And the thing with sex is that it can't really be faked, right? Where your sex life is really is a demonstration of a symptom that's happening in your relationship, right? When you first fall in love, when you first meet your lover, when you first meet just lock the door here. I'm in my sister's room and in a different location. The door's right here. I don't want nobody to open the door and like hit me here. So let me get my bearings for a second. Yes, sex is an important part. Sex demonstrates, it shows you where you are in your relationship, where the eros, where's the chemistry, the passion, and the romance is in your relationship. It really puts like an obvious statement of where that is, right? So when you first fall in love, sex is like there, right? Because there's so much passion, there's also a newness to it, so I'm not going to take that away from it. But there is also like a lot of the getting to know each other, the dating, the energy and the clean energy that happens when you are first in a relationship, right? So over time, the sex sprinkles off. And there's reasons for that. Part of that is there's something happening in the relationship that needs to be addressed, right? The other part is yourself and your relationship with your sexuality and your body, right? That can sometimes be buried down deep, and it doesn't come up until later on in your relationship. Things that have happened, small things, major traumatic incidents that you've buried down, all of which, every single one that's important, that somehow gets brought into the light or wanting to have your awareness brought to it. So I was in this space with my man for a while, and I was just like, what is going on here? Like, I don't want to have sex. Like, I'm with the man of my dreams and I don't want to have sex. Like, I just don't want it. And it was even from the very beginning where it felt like it was a little bit more exciting in the beginning, but still there's a part of me that felt very suppressed in it, very repressed in it, where I didn't want to really open up, right? So it was hot and wild in the beginning, but then once we moved in together, things really kind of took a little bit of, started to slowly go down. So I did what most women do, is like, let me just try to make myself have more sex. Let's just try new things. Let's just, maybe we're just getting bored in the bedroom and just gonna be adventurous. And yeah, that brought a little thrill in the bedroom, but it wasn't long and sustaining. And it actually felt more like a chore, and it felt more effort than actually hot and wild and in it and passion and like, yes, I cannot wait till my man puts his hands on me. So this is why to have hot and wild sex with your partner is not about the new sex gadget that you found, a new sex position that you do, a new area and place that you choose to have sex, although it can include these things. And these things are actually a natural unfolding of this desire to like feel pleasure in so many different ways with your man, but it's all about how into the sex you are. Having hot and wild sex is all about how into the sex you are. Like, how into it you are. Do you enjoy sex? Do you feel good in your body? Are you able to open up to your husband, to your partner? Do you feel like you can open up to a man if you're single? How do you feel with your own body, with your own sexuality? Do you hide? Have you ever touched your body for yourself, for your own pleasure, for your own sensation of what it feels like to caress your body and to caress your skin? Have you danced in the mirror for yourself and said, fuck, you are a hot bitch? And just like really be into yourself, not for like an ego inflation, but like really feeling the sensuality of yourself. Does it make you feel uncomfortable to be that in love sexually with yourself? Not from a performative, like, I'm dancing in the mirror because I can perform in front of a man and like there's this like thing that you feel about it, because I've been on that side. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the intimate relationship with your sacred sexual anatomy, your breast, your yoni, your clitoris, your G-spot, like every single part of your body, your skin, the curves of your body, that all the different sensations that you can feel from being intimate with yourself. Because if you're not in here with that, it's going to be really difficult to transfer that into the bedroom, and eventually in the bedroom it runs dry. Because there's only it runs dry because there isn't this fullness of you being in the bedroom with your husband and with your partner. There's a part of you that's not integrated. So it's really hard to open up to fully, even with the person that you've chosen for the rest of your life, that they're safe. It's really difficult to really open up that part of you if you haven't been intimate with yourself in that, right? It's almost like in order to give respect and to request for someone to respect you, you have to respect yourself. Right? So in order to really open up to your partner and like really get in there and have it to be consistent. I'm talking about consistency here. Not just one night. I'm talking about consistently. It's like you have to have that intimate relationship with your body. That's the first thing. That's number one. That is number one. And so many of us women do not have a sacred relationship with our body and with our sexuality. The relationship we have with our body is performative and is for somebody else. or we've completely just numbed that shit out. How is that really going to transfer long term? How are you really going to... Sex is such a beautiful and holy, intimate thing with you and your partner. This is why it's like a big part of a relationship. It's huge. It's a huge aspect in your relationship. It's a huge aspect of the pleasure and this co-creative energy, sexual co-creative energy, and this beautiful, holy dance that you're doing with each other. This is why it's so important, whether you really are aware of it or you're not. Now, the second piece of what, in order to have a hot and wild sex life, is how are you showing up in your relationship? How are you showing up with your partner? Because if you are showing up as this mothering energy, as this resentment, this condemnation type of energy, and you're not showing up in your feminine embodiment, it's going to be really hard for you to want to actually fuck your husband, fuck your partner. Or if you're single, if you've done that in the past, right? So the first piece also involves about the first thing that I talked about. If you've been in a relationship before where your sexual energy has been suppressed because of a previous relationship, which that was totally me, that first piece is going to help out so much. Now, what usually happens is after you've been in those types of relationships, you swing to the other side, depending how much you controlling you become. It really depends, but or mothering you become, or managerial you become in a relationship, really depends. But that energy can swing into your relationship because you're trying to protect yourself. So this piece right here, even if you're single and you're like, well, I don't know how I show up, but maybe in the past, or maybe it's a different experience like me where it wasn't necessarily this mothering energy, but it could happen in the future if you're not aware of what could happen. So if you're showing up in that way, you're not going to want to fuck your husband. You're not going to want to, because you view him not as a hot, sexy man. You view him as a child, as someone to manage, right? And the third thing, which the point number 2 and point number 3 are both interconnected, because number 3 is how he shows up for you. And this is a dance between you two. How you show up is how he responds. But though your embodiment is everything, men respond to us. We are the call that they respond to. So if you're showing up in your masculine energy, it's either going to be one of two things. He's not going to submit to your masculine energy and you're going to have this huge conflict fighting, or he will and he's going to start becoming a passive man, and that's not going to feel good for your feminine arrows and your feminine desire to have sex, which all of these two things can be alchemized, right? Because that was exactly what happened with Ron and I too. The sexual polarity little by little started to crumble, which is why we got into this complacency phase, which was where the sexual energy was, the sex had gone a little bit off. Whereas like, what's going on here? Why do I not want sex with him? Right? It really became obvious during this time. And I had to recognize and take radical responsibility that I was starting to cut his balls off little by little. Not intentionally. And some from really bad advice from a previous mentor. But I started to change the energetics in the relationship. Therefore, I became the more lean forward masculine. He became the more passive lean back. And I didn't want to have sex with that. Because women don't want to have sex with that. We want to have sex with the man who really sweeps us away and makes us feel like, oh my God, take my body right now. Do with me what you will. Or when they come home, you're like, I'm going to jump on his cock. Right? And that all starts with how you show up. We are the frequency, we are the heartbeat, we are the tone of the relationship, and he responds to that. We have to give him the space to be the man that we always want him to be. And a lot of women cut this off. A lot of women fuck this up because they haven't been taught, because of whatever, because of fears, which are rightfully that are there for very good reasons. But we need to alchemize this so we can bring the relationship back to that exciting, erotic arousal where you are just pulsating in between your legs and you're like, yes, give me your, right? And these are the things that I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to walk you through a challenge inside of Dripping Pleasure, which is 2 weeks. And each day I'm going to send you a transmission. Following the transmission is going to be a very activating transmission where you're really going to land I'm going to land the codes of feminine embodiment, of your sensuality, of your sexuality, really reconnecting and restoring the relationship to your body and to sex. And to your feminine, what's it called? Sacred sexual anatomy. And after that, I'm going to give you a challenge. I'm going to give you a specific thing to do for that day. So it's going to be a very interactive challenge. It's going to be an interactive process. And it will be easy, meaning it's not going to be things that are very too crazy, too stretchy. Maybe for some of you it will. But it's going to be exactly what you need so that you can start feeling that part of yourself that has been so suppressed and so repressed, that aching, that yearning of, like, I want it. I just want to want it. I just don't even want sex. I just want to want sex. All right, your libido is going to come back on fire. You're going to learn how to communicate with your partner in a way that's better so that you start changing the polarity in your relationship and he actually starts giving you what you want and what you need. And you start feeling like, oh, yes. It can soften, it can open. Right? And in the meantime, you're working on yourself. You're working on your own relationship to your body. Right? Because a lot of the mechanisms that we have with men is really our protective mechanisms that we have built for ourselves. And mechanisms that have been brought down from our generational lines, from the bloodline. And it's our responsibility to start to shift that. And we're going to start shifting that inside of this challenge. It's 2 weeks. We begin 5/20. It's $50. And today's the last day to get a free 30-minute call. A free 30-minute call. A relationship call. So we're going to talk. We're going to get straight to the point. It's 30 minutes about where you are in your relationship, what you really desire. So you're going to come in with already the questions that you want because we're going to get straight to it. We're not going to do any fluff. We're going to get straight to it and I'm going to coach you through and you're going to start making some breakthroughs. You're going to start having some radical shifts, all the beautiful things in order for you to have better relationships, to have a better sex life, to be more connected with your feminine embodiment and to call in or to ignite the masculine in your man. Okay, so that is it for today. If you have any questions, message me because I'm hopping off. So the light goes dim. Message me if you have any questions. The link is there in the description. $50. Come join. Take advantage of today. This is a hot and wild, sexy deal right now. Like, it's the last day to take advantage of it. So if you want it, grab it. And that's it for today. And I'm excited to see you inside. And I cannot wait for this challenge. It's going to be held inside a Telegram. We're going to have a private chat as well. So if you're joining the live, you're going to have a private chat versus anyone who buys on the replay, which they're not going to have access to the chat at all. They're just going to have access to the challenge. So yeah, like I'm really excited to get you feeling dripping in pleasure, dripping in your own pleasure, and just feeling ravished by your man, and really returning this part of your life. So the thing I'll say about all the things that it's not, like all the different crazy things that you don't need that, right? And it doesn't, when you get to this point, it no longer feels like a chore. It no longer feels like a chore and something else that you need to check off your list. That's the place that I want to get you to. I want to get you to that place where you're like, wow, sex doesn't feel like a chore anymore. Like, I want it. I love it. And I have so much fun with it. Whether it's a really quick, short, thing that we do together, or whether it's like this really like juicy, intimate, I'm so in it. I feel every thrust, every penetration, every grind. And it just feels so good. And I'm really excited for if you schedule your sexy time, some couples do that and it really works. Like when we schedule our sexy time, I'm looking forward to it versus like, oh my God, it's a drag. Or you're looking for just spontaneous moments. Or you tell your husband, baby, tomorrow morning, wake me up. I'm feeling juicy. Right? It doesn't feel like a chore anymore. It feels exciting. And when there's a long lull, you don't make a big deal about it because like everything ebbs and flows, right? And you're not performing in the bedroom. It just feels good. It feels good. And it feels like you can just be you and you can be really unleashed. So that's what I desire for you. That is my intention, to bring you to that place with yourself, with your body, where it just, there's freedom. And you're also not feeling obligated from your partner, right? Because that's another thing too. That's an energy killer in sex for women, where you feel like you have to give it to him because he's horny all the time. We're going to talk about that. We're even going to talk more about that inside of Sensual Woman, which is a mastermind that I have starting in June, I believe. I don't have an exact start date. It is going to come after this program, but right now there's, as a mastermind, we're really going to go even deeper into that. The 2 weeks challenge is going to be something that's really simple, really easy for you to follow, really easy for you to start opening up and start really connecting. And then we're going to go really deep for the women who are really at that place where they're ready, where they're activated to really start to get down to the deep parts that they've buried down and really expand their sexuality and even the relationship with you and God when it comes to that. I have some. So if that's where you're at, then Sensual Woman is for you, and it's $6.99 right now. That will go up in June. So if you get Dripping Pleasure for free, which Dripping Pleasure is also going to increase in price. So if that's it. That's all I'm going to say for today. I'm going to close it here. So message me if you have any questions about Sensual Woman or Dripping Pleasure. I would love to talk more about that with you or any of my other programs that I have. Take advantage of today's special. And I love you. And that's it.